This is a California driver's license, or a copy of one. Now that guy's picture is Osama bin Laden. I had a sweet little grandma ask me just recently, she goes, did the state of California really give Osama bin Laden a driver's license? I said, no ma'am, that's a fake, but I wouldn't be surprised with our state if they would not try it or not. But here's what we'll do. We will require registered sex offenders to renew their driver's license every year at the DMV. Now, if there's 100,000 registered sex offenders in California 10 years ago, at $30 a pop, you do the math. That's what, $3 million right there to the state, because they're going to have to register every year. What will that do? Every 12 months, we'll know where these rascals are hiding out and where they're living. We'll do one other thing. Up here where it says class, for a car or a motorcycle, or whatever the class is for the driver's license, we're going to put the number 290. 290 is the California Penal Code designation for a registered sex offender. So what will that do? Sheriff, when your deputies pull somebody over and they look at that and they see 290, they will instantly know I'm dealing with a registered sex offender. And then they can say, Mr. bin Laden, why are you parked in front of the middle school? Mr. bin Laden, is this still your address? No, you moved? Would you please step out of the car, place your hands on top of your head? You see what I mean? Instantly, our sheriffs and our peace officers can take control of a situation and quite possibly save another child's life. It's a common sense idea. I think it'll work. And in the climate we're in, I promise you, it's the very first thing I'm going to propose as your state senator in the 36th district. Let me tell you a couple of other things. I believe, and I'll ask the governor of the state of California. Mr. Naratelli, get ready. I'm going to ask you to do this. The governor of the state of California controls the Army and the Air National Guard of any given state. You're going to get a letter from a Senator Stevens that'll say, would you please deploy our Guard troops to our southern border as a backstop behind the Border Patrol and the Sheriff's Department to ensure the safety of the American citizens. You'll deploy them. Okay, perfect. Thank you. What will that do? What will that do? Not as a frontline force, but as a backstop, a third layer of defense. Here's what that will do. Recently, my wife was in the emergency room over here in East County in Grossmont Hospital. We set for 6 hours. That's what they told us it was going to be. It ended up being 10 hours. I watched 2 Border Patrol agents sit with a guy with a sprained ankle, and they sat all night with him. And I realized if they're sitting here, that's 2 less agents on the border because they're sitting with this guy. How about if we had a field clinic out here in Hamul or somewhere? And what they do is when that guy gets hurt breaking into our country, they take him immediately to that MASH hospital and they treat him there and then deploy him wherever he needs to go from there instead of tying up a bed in our hospital and tying up Border Patrol agents. You like it? It's humanitarian. It's not racist. It's humanitarian. Listen, if field clinics and MASH hospitals are good enough for our brave soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan, they're certainly darn well good enough for people who are breaking into our country. I believe that we ought to do what 39 other states currently do, one of those being Texas. Texas has a $10 billion surplus in the same economy that we're in. I think we ought to do what 39 other states do and have a part-time legislature. I'll support it. We don't need to be there full-time. What will that do? It'll make it a lot tougher for the lobbyists and the special interest groups to just walk down the hall and do their deals and backroom deals that they constantly do. They'll have to come to the districts. Here's another concept. It'll make us be in our district listening to our people and give you access. Those are a couple of the things that I support. You can go to the website, citizensforstevenstate.com, citizensforstevens.com. You'll see many more. You'll see shout outs from people where we let people talk about the things that they are most frustrated about. And the most frustrating thing that they've said over and over and over, regular people talking, is special interest and big money politics. Now I'm running against career politicians who don't want to debate, who don't want to have community forums. They just want to raise money and keep power. And that's why I appreciate what you're doing. Some people said you can't get this done in Sacramento, the driver's license bill and the other things. Listen, with what iCaucus is doing, If we got every iCaucus endorsed person for state Senate elected, we will control the Republican caucus in the Senate. If we get every iCaucus endorsed assemblyman, we will control the Republican caucus in the state assembly. And that's how you begin to turn things, not 4 years from now, not 6 years from now, but within 1 year we can control the caucus in the California Assembly and California Senate. I was recently in Israel and I met with the president and the prime minister. The president said to me, because he loves San Diego, he said, I first met Ronald Reagan in San Diego, and he said, I'm going to tell you something you need. Your state needs to make more Ronald Reagans again. We need them for the world, we need them for the nation, and Israel needs them. And I said, Mr. President, I agree with you 100%. He said, let me tell you what I loved about Reagan. What I loved about Reagan was, and these were his words, and he did this with his hand, so I'm going to do it. Reagan was not a big shot. He said when I first met him, he was sitting over in the corner with some of his aides and some of the waiters from the Del Hotel, and he was telling them jokes. And see, that's the problem, and you know it. We've elected big shots who rely on career endorsements, who rely on big money, and they don't represent you. I'm not a big shot. I'm just a regular guy that got sick and tired of watching our jobs leave our state. I'm sick and tired of watching grown men talk to me in my office and say to me, I'm a pastor. That's what I do. I'm a pastor of a church. And this guy comes up to me and he's in his mid-50s and his name is Dean, and he says, Pastor, my job can't stay in California anymore and I have to leave. What do I do? He said, my father's an aging World War II veteran, and I'm afraid that I won't be here when my dad passes away. Well, Dean's dad just died a week or two ago, and he didn't make it back in time from Idaho to see him. And when he saw me, he said, California won. And I said, no, he didn't. California didn't win. Your dad's in a better place, and you'll see him soon. But see, I'm sick and tired of watching the deans of the world and of our state cry because they're losing their job. I'm sick and tired of watching parents put their kids on a lottery list for charter school because the public schools have failed them. We, the people of California, deserve better than what we've gotten. And that's why I got off the bench and got in the race. And that's why you've gotten off your couch and you've come out to the Harley Davidson today and you've spoken up and you stood up and you are radically returning California back to its constitutional roots instead of radically transforming her. And I want to thank you for what you're doing. And I'm going to ask for your support on June the 8th in this primary. We can do it if you will believe again. God bless you. God bless the state of California.